called me that night, and then he, gave me the welcome to Redbull Racing.
Ah, no way.
I called my dad, and he was just like, "Are you serious?" 2 minutes later, he just started crying. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know how to use reverse gear in the car. Yes, this is sick, dude. Oh my god.
Make a wish.
Okay.
That ain't coming true.
Yeah.
We can cut anything that we need to, by the way.
Okay, I'll tell you then. And then we can decide to put it in, because this is fucking funny.
It's staying in.
We're at this big table. Opposite me was Max, and George hadn't turned up at this point. Hadn't arrived yet. So
Where do you think you may have come?
you literally, this is exactly like talking.
Liam Lawson. You did the pit stop fastest lap. You're going to be teammates with a 4-time world champion.
Honestly, it's massive, man. It's massive.
Ready? Ladies and gents, welcome back to Pit Stop. Here we are. We've had an unbelievable Formula One season, the best that we've ever seen.
It's been an incredible year.
Ever. And we didn't think that we could finish this year any other way, but now we have a very important guest on the episode.
We do. Today is a big one. Can't believe he's in the flat. Ladies and gentlemen, Oracle Redbull Racing's new driver, Liam Lawson. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, guys. Really, thank you. It's exciting.
Welcome to our flat for a start.
It's cool. It's really, really cool. I like the setup, like the guitars, the light that's in here. It's cool. It's really cool.
You must have had a wild week.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of days. It's been a wild couple of weeks, because obviously I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that there was an opportunity there, based on how I was going to perform in the last couple of races. And so yeah, that side of it was massive pressure. And then obviously this week has been very exciting.
How did you actually find out?
So I knew during the weekends that that everyone was going to get together and they were going to make a decision, and basically all the guys from Red Bull. The meeting happened. I knew what time it was, so I actually went to the gym because I couldn't sleep properly. But I was like, I have to do something, so I just went to the gym with my trainer, and we were there. And I got a text from Christian when I was in the gym, basically all good, but keep it to yourself. So I was obviously stoked, but I waited for him. He called me that night, and then he gave me the welcome to Redbull Racing. I know, it's crazy, dude. Yeah,
That was the line.
It was very cool. It was very, very cool. And then it's been very surreal all week, honestly. Like even now, it still doesn't feel real yet.
Yeah, you said it. I was chatting downstairs. You said it hit you last night, like kind of momentarily.
Yeah, it's very special. I've been with Red Bull for 6 years now. Going to the factory every single year as a junior, looking at the Formula One car on the wall, looking at the trophies, working on the simulator. It's very, very cool.
So have you told your family yet? Does your dad know?
Yeah, he was the first person I told. So I called my dad, and it was funny because I called him and I said to him, I didn't just want to tell him, like I wanted to like try and make him kind of guess, because he also knew that there was something happening, there was a shift, and that potentially there was an opportunity.
Yeah.
So we were all like waiting on it, and so I called him, and I never FaceTime him. So he was already, I could see when he answered the FaceTime, he was like, "What's going on?" And then he goes, I said to him, because normally we do a test with VCARB in Imola during January. And I said to him, I'm just, planning my January calendar at the moment. I'll be, obviously we're coming home, and then I'm not actually going to go to Imola anymore. I got to go to Silverstone, for a test. And he was like, what are you saying? Like, I could see like in his eyes, and basically I was like, I got the seat. And for like 2 minutes, it was really minimal reaction. He was just like, are you serious? And I could see he couldn't believe it. And then like 2 minutes later, he just started crying. Like it just hit him like it did to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously he knows the work from, it started with us when I was very young, when I was 6-7 years old. It's exciting for everybody. Obviously they've all been very much a part of the journey since I was young. My whole family has sacrificed a lot for me when I was go-kart racing as a kid. So for everybody, it's very cool.
It's pretty wild that you're going to be the next Red Bull racer, but you haven't even drove all the tracks.
I know. I haven't started a season. I've never had. The thing is, I don't know what to do with myself, because every time I've gone into something, or at least in F1, it's been during the season. Zandvoort was the night before, so I had no time to think about it. Austin, okay, I had 2 weeks during the season. I could sort of get ready, but now I got an off season to think about it, and I don't really know what to do. Like I've got all this time off, but I just want to get into it, to be honest.
Get stuck in.
Yeah,
I bet that this period of time is going to be difficult.
I always look forward to off season, but now I don't really. I'm looking forward to going home, but I know that I'm going to be, trying to keep busy trying to pass the time.
It's going to be a pretty great Christmas though. Back home, knowing what's coming.
Yeah, it's going to be cool for New Zealand as well. You know, they've the country is very supportive of, like, everybody's very supportive of me, and motorsport in New Zealand's been really popular even when I was a kid. So there's a lot of passionate people there, and this will be really, really cool for everybody.
How will you spend the next 2-3 months? Is there anything you have to do that will make a huge difference? Obviously, you're already at F1, so it's not like fitness is really an issue. But what will you have to do different?
I think different, not much changes, honestly. The preparation's the same, so I'll keep training, I'll keep doing everything, I'll keep doing everything that I've been doing to prepare for F1 like I have been. And I guess just communicating with the team. Obviously, it runs on off season, so there won't be that much communication, but it's just being fit and ready, honestly. And then when I come back in January to start doing the prep work with the team, making the most of that stuff, because obviously, yeah, Melbourne's up first. I haven't driven Melbourne before, so I drove it in a V8 supercar last year. Like, I did like 3 laps, but that's my experience at Melbourne. Yeah.
You just did 160 laps in the test. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, we started the morning, and I was like, I was watching the lap counter, and we started, and I had done quite a lot of laps already, and I said to my engineer, I was like, I want to do the most laps out of anybody today. Like, I just wanted, that's my goal for the day. So I had like a 20-minute lunch and just got straight back in the car and kept driving. And it was really cool. The only issue with it was we ended up doing like all our new soft tire stuff, because we were doing so many laps. We ended up doing it so early in the day that it was still bright and sunny, and then it cooled off and got dark, and we'd kind of run out of things to do. So we were just doing practice starts at the end of the day, and like everyone was doing their new tire runs when it was dark and cold and setting lap times, and I was just out there doing practice starts, clocking more laps on the board.
And this was in the VCARB, right?
Yeah, it's my car.
So like, I wonder how different the car's going to be.
Well, I've driven it.
You have driven it?
I've driven it. I've driven both RB19 and RB20 over the last couple of years, and it's very different. It's
quick?
It's quick, but it's hard to drive.
Yeah.
So it's
hard to drive.
It's hard to drive. It's what we would call what I would call fronty. It's like it's a lot of front. Like, it's very aggressive. It's basically it's a car that takes confidence. To drive a Formula 1 car, the sort of entry speeds, what we call combined entry speeds, where you're just turning into a corner with loads of energy. You know, you're turning with lots of speed. You're not really slowing down before. It's like a combined entry. And really, Formula 1, that's like the most powerful thing about the cars, is because of the downforce. You can combine so much speed into a corner. And the Red Bull, in my experience, is very aggressive in the way that it does it. You have to have confidence to be able to do it, because it's got a lot of front grip, and if you don't quite get it right, you lose the rear. And if you lose the rear in a Formula 1 car, you just lose all your confidence, basically. Yeah.
I really wanted to ask you about this, because you're friends with Alex Albon, right? He did an interview, and how he spoke about the Red Bull and how the car drives. Yeah. He said Max has it on like 100% sensitivity almost. It's so hard to drive, you know, like a game. The curse is all over the place. Is it actually like that? That's like up in the sensitivity, and he's on max. I thought it was a brilliant way to describe it, honestly, because that's one of the best ways you could describe it. Because I guess if you have low sensitivity, you have a lot of control over what you're doing. It's not very aggressive. Everything's happening quite slowly, but it's very stable. It's very smooth. It's not very aggressive. But when you have really high sensitivity, everything's all over the place. If you try to play Call of Duty and you're trying to shoot somebody and your cursor's going all over the place, like, you have to be really accurate and sort of with what you're doing, and that's what it's like, to be honest, with the Red Bull. It's just very aggressive. Does that work with your driving style, you think?
About to find out. I mean, I'd like to think so. I don't know. I don't know if I really believe in sort of driving styles like everybody. I think you can have a car that suits what you like out of a car. You know, you can be a person that likes a car with a lot of front grip, a lot of entry front, or you like a car that's really stable. That's fine. But you know, we're meant to be professionals. We're meant to be able to drive what we're given. So and maximize that. You know, we're meant to be able to adapt, and so obviously we'll find out.
But I totally get it, because my last car was exactly the same.
Lots of front,
aggressive, fast.
Big hole in the engine.
What was the car?
The VW Golf.
Oh yeah, so they have a lot of front.
Once you get the back end out,
it's
ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
That's pretty much what it's like driving a Red Bull, I'd say.
Are you still going to race with number 30 next year?
Yeah, that's something that's also, you know, super exciting. It's the number that I started racing. Not actually started with, but I was 8 years old when I started using number 30. So I carried that through with me all the way. So to have it, in the main team, it's pretty exciting.
And why 30?
Yeah, it was my go-kart number. So I had somebody who was, when I started go-karts, I've been really lucky that I've been, had a lot of support from people from a very young age. So my first sort of supporter was a team in New Zealand I basically raced for a go-kart team from when I was 9 years old, and they helped give me free go-karts and helped because we couldn't really afford to do it at top level. And the guy that was in the team with us, he was much older than me, but he was like my idol when I was a kid. He used to take me training basically, so he would teach me how to drive the go-kart better. He would teach me about setup, and in karts you do so much testing. Like you go away every weekend. So I would get pulled out of school, I'd go away testing with basically this guy, who's now one of my best friends from home, and he had number 30, and so I was like, this guy's like my hero. So I started racing with number 30, and then I just kept it. So
it's stuck all the way to.
So for him, it's cool as well, because I told him obviously
I'm
bringing number 30 and our number into Formula One.
It's Christmas.
It is Christmas,
and we have some presents for you.
Because that's what you do on Christmas.
Yeah,
all of them.
Share the love. They're all for you. Take your pick. I mean, you can start with the card first if you want.
Yeah, I probably should.
There's no money in it.
Yeah, when you're at Christmas time, you're
It's like
trying to act like
we were going to add some money
couple
to
of
it.
coins.
Pretending it didn't fall out.
Is there a check in there or not?
Open the card and all the money just falls out, and you just have to read it and pretend you don't see it. Yeah,
What's all of this?
Oh wow, look at that.
Wasn't expecting that.
A lovely, well done card.
To Liam. Congrats on the Red Bull seat. Helmet has decided you have the skills to be a Red Bull driver, but do you have what it takes to top the Pitstop fastest lap leaderboard? The true test starts today. Jake and Fab. So I got some pressure now. I've seen the lap board.
You've seen the leaderboard, right?
I already told you guys that I'm not leaving until I set a good time. So
I think we'll make an exception. You can have as many laps as you want.
Thank you.
Because if you've just signed for Red Bull and then you come fourth,
I know.
What
Yeah, I know that's not ideal.
If you don't believe like Matt Gallagher, then something's up.
Yeah, but Piastri's an F1 driver, and he's fourth on the board. So
Right. Yeah. I don't know how Brad Benavides got that. Pietro's always in the sim.
Yeah, he's in the sim.
And poor Chair, he had something to prove,
Yeah.
So.
I feel like that meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
Maybe this present next?
All right. Man, this is amazing, guys. You have like...
I wouldn't be too excited. They're not the best presents.
What the...
Because you have to look tip top when you walk into the paddock.
Is this hair?
It's hair dye.
It's hair dye. It's blonde hair dye.
For the top of your hair,
Thank you so much, guys. Wow, that's really...
It's like your thing,
really thoughtful,
It's a Liam Lawson staple.
Is that going to be
I
the
tell
look?
everybody that I don't dye my hair. I just... I tell people that it's the sun. It's just the sun that...
Is it the sun?
Yeah.
The sun and lemons.
Lemons. Yeah, they work.
Yeah.
Real good. You'd be
Walnuts.
surprised.
Alright, we can take that one back
yeah.
if you want. Which one should we give next?
Oh. Yeah, do that one.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I love Christmas.
Oh, the classic. Yeah, these are so good.
I just thought, right, start of the season, new car, you don't know if you might just hit a barrier. There's going to be some repair costs, maybe. If you need to pay.
Thank you. Got some gold coins.
Yeah.
That's very, very thoughtful of you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, this is heavy.
Yeah, that one's heavy. That one could be anything.
This one, again, we just thought, like, what can we do? Just try and help as much as we can.
Learn the learn to drive in 10 easy stages. Wow, guys. This is super thoughtful.
Because
Honestly,
I'm sure there's some tips in there that you could pick up.
Going into my first full season, this is gonna be very valuable. Maximum speed limits, well,
Yeah.
it's pit speed limits. That's useful for pit lane,
Yeah, exactly.
obviously. Using reverse gear. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know how to use reverse gear in the car. Like it's one of those things that in the situation you're just hitting buttons, panicking, trying to get it.
Okay, final present.
Yes, this is sick, dude. Oh my god, dude, these are expensive, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, like this is sick. Lightning McQueen Crocs.
You won't believe what we went through to try and get.
I've heard they're really hard to get. Like that's why I haven't got them yet.
They are very hard to get.
And they are expensive, right? Like I'm pretty sure.
They are quite expensive, but
Yeah.
these ones were within the budget cap.
Dude, this is so cool. Thank you
I
guys.
had
Mission
someone
Impossible.
Uber
Thank you, honestly. Thank you very much. I'll wear them for.
And Alex has.
Oh my god.
Okay. To say congratulations.
Congratulations,
You guys have gone
mate.
over the top.
Mate, you're the next Red Bull driver. If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it?
Make a wish.
Okay.
That ain't coming true.
Yeah, you meant to blow it out the first try. Thank you guys.
Well
No
done,
worries,
man.
mate.
Well done. Yeah, it's Christmas, you know.
That's really, 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 really thoughtful, and this is sick.
Before we completely forget, what was the F1 driver's dinner like then?
Yeah. It's crazy how many messages I've had about this. Like people are really curious about what it was like. Man, this looks so bad.
I want to know
I'm
what you
so
eat.
Sorry.
What you eat there, what you drink there.
It was a good dinner, like real good food. It was at Zuma. It's like is it Zuma? That's what they call it. I can't remember what the restaurant's called. It's like a Japanese, I would say, Japanese style
Yeah.
restaurant. Really good food. I don't know if I can.
We can cut anything that we need to, by the way.
Okay, I'll tell you then. Then we can decide to put it in because this is fucking funny.
It's staying in. It's staying in.
It's really funny. We rock up and we're at this big table, and me and Yuki got there together, and we weren't the first people there. There were probably like 6 or 7 people there. But as the table was filling up, there was basically pretty much that side of the table was pretty much all full, and there was me. Opposite me was Max, and then there was like 3 chairs to the left at this end of the table that were left, and George hadn't turned up at this point, hadn't arrived yet. So we were like, this is perfect. We're just gonna, like, everybody that was coming before them, we were like, fill that side of the table.
Everyone was in on it.
Yeah. We're like, we're gonna save this spot for George right next to Max. And like, so, and then George arrives, and we were all like, hey, and then Max is like, mate, we've saved a seat for you. And George just picks up the chair and walks to the other end of the table and sits on the other side of the table with Lewis and like with that end of the table. And man, it was like, we were all like, oh my God, this is so, like, we thought it would be funny. It wasn't
just
funny.
awkward.
It wasn't funny, yeah. It was funny for us, but
Did
it
George
wasn't-
say anything?
Nothing. Nothing, yeah. So we probably can't put that in there. I don't know. We can decide. But like,
Alex
just for you
is
guys
sweating
to know,
right
like,
now.
it was so funny. Honestly, it was so funny. They just, yeah. We kind of expected them to maybe put it on hold for dinner, like for the driver's dinner. But man,
Yeah.
And he first went around the table saying hi to everybody, and we thought when he came back he would sit down, but he just came back, picked up the chair, and
That's awkward, man.
went to the other end.
Because you don't know, from our perspective, like whether it is 100% legit. You think obviously part of it
I
can
know.
be for the cameras, so clearly it is. It's real.
Yeah, it was real. I mean, in the car you go through a lot. Like it's high adrenaline. You're doing
Yeah.
like Qatar as well. Honestly, Qatar's a track that it's amazing to drive. It's so high adrenaline because it's so fast. That last sector, I mean, it's destroying tires. It's so fast. Like people are getting punctures because it's such a high force. You're flat for pretty much all of it, pulling 5G basically,
Yeah.
and yeah, when you have stuff happen on track around there.
That's crazy.
You have some?
Fuck, I've been staring at that coin for the last 10 minutes. Yes, please.
That little one.
All right, speaking of like relationships then, are you in the F1 drivers WhatsApp group? Yeah. Have you got any funny stories you can share about that? Because I feel like
What
it's a
actually
pretty
happens in
funny
that chat?
place. Some people have spoke about it already, so.
What do people say? You
pretty-
remind each other there's a race this weekend?
Yeah,
or-
is it just purely work, or is there like banter that flies around?
Nah, it's work related. It's like I'm hopeless though at read. I'm in general. You can probably agree. I'm so bad at getting back to people. Like reading messages and replying. I'm so bad at, like, it's something that I am really bad at. So yeah, I barely check, like, shit, it's dropping everywhere. I barely check it. So, well, that's not true. I do like if there's something important going on, but it is very work related. It's not like, it's not what you imagine. It's the
I wanted memes flying around,
Yeah.
funny
Nah,
videos.
it's not really like,
Photos.
it's not really like that.
Are you going to get something up?
Who runs it? Who's the big boss that kicks in and out?
Everyone, honestly,
It's clearly George.
collectively.
George is like the moderator of the fucking WhatsApp group.
Yeah. To be
Everyone,
fair,
no swearing. Come on, we know the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like we had the dinner. Everyone was together at the dinner, and everyone was obviously thanking Valtteri because he was an absolute G and he paid for it.
Oh, he paid for everything, right?
He did, yeah. Yeah, it's not. Honestly, it's not stuff I can really share.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
That's
it's
fair enough.
Yeah.
You show us later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We pulled together a couple of photos from your Instagram that I wanted to show you, and I wanted to get your thoughts on them. They're coming on the big screen.
Just a little throwback to the history of Liam Lawson, I guess.
Hopefully this doesn't go too bad.
Screen sharing.
Don't go on the camera.
Yeah. It's always a risky thing. Like you're sitting in the family room, screen sharing.
February the 18th, 2019, we were announcing that you have signed with Red Bull Junior Team,
Yeah.
which isn't even that long ago.
303 weeks ago. Yeah.
So where were you right then when you put this Instagram up, and what was going on, and how does this happen? Like, how do Red Bull find you, and how does this whole journey begin?
I mean, to be honest, we wouldn't even have enough time to go through. My story's crazy. Like the way that everything worked out for me from when I was young is I'm extremely lucky.
Yeah,
And-
I've got some convo about that, actually.
Yeah, so like the way when I left New Zealand, I had basically a group of amazing people from New Zealand that wanted to see a driver get to Formula One, but we set up like a company structure, which has been done for quite a few other drivers from New Zealand, and I know from other countries, because it's a good way to get people together, to get investment from people rather than sponsorship, because it's, sponsoring somebody is just giving away a lot of money. If you invest in somebody, if you actually believe in them, there's, potentially you get a return on that. So we set up a group of, at this point, 5 key people the year before this, to invest, a certain amount of money in me to go to Europe and try and get picked up by a junior team. That was the target, because we knew we didn't have enough money to go to Formula 1 without it. So I did German F4 right before this in 2018. I finished second, and I didn't have a contract from any teams or anything like that. So we came to New Zealand, came back home, and the Toyota Racing Series is a championship that used to be really popular. Like Lando did it, Lance did it, like a lot of guys have done it. And because it's 5 weeks in a row of racing in New Zealand in summertime in cars that are quite similar to F3, and it's in the middle of wintertime over here, so nobody's doing anything here. So everyone just goes there and uses it as like a test program for 5 weeks and as a championship to race in. So I did it, and it was, going into it, I knew that this was my last shot, really, because we had no plan for 2019, no money to go to F3. There was no seats left. It was like, there's nothing, I have no plan of what we're going to do after this. So I went into this championship like I got to somehow pull something out of this. And after the first weekend, we had the contract from Red Bull, and it was from an overtake. Like it literally was like one big overtake I did on somebody, and the next day we had the contract.
So is that helmet again?
Yeah.
Just seeing that.
So there was a driver in there, Lucas Auer was doing it, and he was a Red Bull Junior at the time. And I remember, like, he was my teammate, so we rocked up to the first round, and I saw his like Red Bull helmet sitting in the.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, this is so cool! Like, Red Bull driver, like Red Bull helmet.
Yeah.
And so he would have been watching because Lucas was racing in it, and so he watched it and sent
Unreal.
to the contract.
You seem to win on debut quite a lot.
Yeah, super random.
It's like the most random thing.
Yeah, super
And I
random.
was reading about you a couple nights ago, and it just said, so first time in a kart, 7 years old, won on debut. Your first ever karting race, right? Or am I fucking wrong already?
Wrong, bro. I don't think mate, the first year of go-karts for me, I came last for like a year solidly.
So, all right.
So the way I started karts was like it was for fun. Like I was serious about it, but I had the worst gear you've ever seen, man. I had a rainbow steering wheel. My go-kart had a rainbow steering wheel. My seat was like fluffy, and I would drive around at the back of the field by myself. Everyone would pull away from me, and I'm like, Dad, my kart sucks. I'm 7 years old. Like, Dad, this is so bad. Like, I need, and Dad's. I didn't know this, but I only found out recently that he thought I sucked. He would tell me as a kid. I remember him telling me, "I know, Liam. Like, well, one day we'll get a better engine and stuff like this." But he just thought I was shit, man. Like, yeah, he just thought my son sucks because I was by myself. And I guess he got sick of hearing me complain, because eventually he like bought these 2 really good engines, and we slapped it on for a qualifying session at this big event, and went out and polled it. And from that point,
Maybe that's what this is about.
Now it's serious. So it's not technically my first race, but
all right. Moving on then. Well, Australian F4.
Yeah.
Won on debut. Asian F3,
Yeah.
won on debut.
Yeah.
F2 with High Tech, DTM, and Japanese Super Formula.
Yeah.
So that's like, I know there was some in between, I think, where you didn't quite win on debut, but still, that's
There
like an
was-
impressive,
Yeah,
and
the
quite
only-
a weird thing to happen.
Yep, Euro Formula as well. I did with Yuki, me and Yuki were teammates. We did Euro Formula Open in 2019. This year. That was another debut win as well. Yeah, and then the rest. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't know. It's super random.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's super
It's
weird.
weird, and now
I
you're at
remember
Red
like
Bull.
the funniest was there was Super Formula in Japan because it's so hard that like to go there. The cars are so different. The championship's so different, and we rock up to Fuji for the first weekend, and it's pissing with rain. Like it's raining, and the practice got cancelled. I've never driven Fuji, so I'm going into the practice day going, I need to learn everything. First weekend, new track, practice is cancelled. It's just straight into quali the next day, and I was like, this is a joke. Like I've never driven this track, and I got to go out in quali the next day. And we went out in quali, and I don't know how, but we qualified third for the race, and then we basically won the race as well. It was like, it was super random. And I remember people going, oh, it looks like your stats going to get ruined this weekend. And I was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And then
Look at me now, motherfucker.
But it was super weird.
That's unreal. Next photo, this one, April 4th, 2020.
Ironing board, yeah.
I pulled this up because I love the ironing board on the
Yeah,
screen.
Oh, it was an ironing board.
Bro, look at me with my gloves on, with my Logitech. Like I'm wearing race gloves on a Logitech G29.
Proper.
Yeah, that was lockdown. So I went back to New Zealand right when COVID was obviously at its peak, and everyone was doing their online sim racing. It was cool. Like this was obviously not cool, but cool at the same time. It was cool because like the online sim community just came together, and you had these big sim leagues, like Formula One drivers from everything getting together and racing. And I would race. I mean, when I was 17 or 18 maybe, and I was doing races with Max and George, and, everybody that was. At the time I looked up to.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was my setup.
And there's a joystick there. Are you a flight simulator fan?
Yeah.
Take a little Boeing for a
yeah,
spin.
Yeah, a little flight.
You were saying just now on The Sims, a lot of you guys would race together. You've known the drivers for a long time. I wanted to show you this because obviously Drugovich has been here, came on the show, won F2, hasn't got an F1 seat yet. Doohan is obviously in next year.
Yeah.
But you know a lot of these guys.
Crazy that, if anybody is deserving a seat right now, it's Drugovich, man. He's jumped in and done his FP last year in Abu Dhabi. He was quicker than Stroll. He was third quickest in FP1 in Abu Dhabi, and then this year I think he was quicker than I don't know what the run plans were. Maybe there was some others, but I think he was quicker than Fernando this year as well in FP1.
Yeah.
So he deserves a seat.
Mate, we've spoke about it so much. Like, forget the leaderboard for a minute. Like he's
Was he on there?
yeah.
Okay. He's done like one lap there for sure.
Just one lap.
Yeah.
But he's so talented,
He is.
and above everything else, apart from his skill, he's just a top guy.
Yeah.
He's just a straight up normal dude.
100%.
It's good to see formulas like F2 and F3 though seem to be working a lot better in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like people coming through.
This year especially. It's just the problem is it's just a lottery though when you go into it. Honestly, like it's so changeable in terms of 1 year one team's good, the next year the next team's that they're not good anymore. The car's the same, the tires are the same, everything's the same, and somehow they're just slow the next year, and then all of a sudden MP with Drugovich, that was the year that he just dominated it.
Yeah.
In a car that wasn't meant to be a race winning car, crushed it.
Well, how old is Drago now? He's what, 24?
I think he's a year or two older than me. Yeah.
Right, so there's still time.
Yeah, for sure.
Still time.
For sure.
I wanted to ask you about this because we have watched cars drive in the spray, in the wet, this whole time. And
Dude.
we can't imagine from our point of view how it
we
must
should
be
pull
so
up.
hard.
We should pull up Brazil. I mean, I can pull it up and show you, or we can pull it up on here. Brazil, the restart, like the onboard of the restart, man. It's if you go on F1 TV.
Oh, I haven't
Do you
got
have
it.
F1 TV?
Oh no, here comes the search history.
Oh shit.
We had the red flag, went back out. Track was so wet, and you're going down on a turn one. And I remember I couldn't see anything, and I thought I was going straight, but all of a sudden the pit wall just like came into shot like real suddenly, and I was I was in a diagonal heading straight for the pit wall. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't know I was heading for it, but none of us could see.
Whoa.
And you were just holding your foot flat and then guessing about where to lift. And guys would come past, you'd go past some guys. Like,
So you can't even see braking
you
boards.
can't, those rain lights, you can't see anything.
No.
It was unbelievable. I've never driven anything like it.
Because they've devised like something new for the back of the car now,
So
where
the
it's
water
meant
goes-
to throw the water out sideways, right?
It's meant to. I don't know
But it doesn't work.
when they'll
really.
use it. I don't know how they're gonna. It's the problem is it's the floor that's doing most of it, especially the new floors, because the cars are using a lot more ground effect now.
Yeah.
Basically, out the back of the diffuser, the air kind of comes back out and kind of tucks up underneath the rear wing, like it does this like spiral almost, and it just comes up, so it just lifts the water up basically into the air. And yeah, like I remember thinking, I'm 100% okay. Like this, like basically, there's a really good chance I'm going to smash into the back of somebody here, but I'm holding my foot flat anyway. Because if you lifted, either somebody's going to hit you or you're going to get overtaken.
How do you find driving on the road versus an F1 car? Do you like it?
Not in London,
No.
but like if it's a good road, like in New Zealand we have some really cool roads.
Yeah.
Speed limits suck, but the roads are good, so you can like it can be quite fun to drive. If you find a country road here, they can be quite fun.
You do your driving test in New Zealand.
I did, yeah.
First time?
Yeah, but he passed me even though you allowed 3 critical errors, and I had 4, and he let me pass anyway. But I remember one of my critical errors was I took both hands off the steering wheel. And I was like, when did I drive? Like, I'm trying to think back. When was I driving like this? When was I driving with no hands? Like, why is that a thing?
I reckon he made it up.
And he was like, yeah, I know. He's like, this is one of your critical errors. Like, you drove with no hands. I'm like, I don't think I did that, man.
Did he know you were a racing driver?
No, he didn't. He actually didn't. This is back I was 16. Yeah, 15, 16, 16. 16 would have been 16.
Right.
Yeah.
Mate, your mates. You're going to be teammates with...
You're mates with...
yeah, I hope you're mates as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You're going to be teammates with the 4-time world
Yeah.
champion, Max Verstappen. Clearly a very talented driver. How do you feel being teammates with him?
Honestly, I'm mostly excited for it. Just, the guy has literally won the last 4 world titles. He's the best in the world right now. And every session I get to see exactly what he's doing, all of his data, all of his... I don't know. Obviously, everyone sees onboards anyway, but I get access to everything. I get to see exactly how he's doing it. So for me as a driver, obviously I know going in it's going to be very hard. There's going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be very tough, and obviously he's going to be very tough to match in terms of pace. But in terms of development, for me, there's nobody better to learn from than him.
What's your personal relationship like?
I think he's pretty good. Yeah, he loves motorsports. So he was watching Super Formula sometimes. I'd be reserved. I'd come from Japan to a race, and he was like talking about the race I just had. And so he's always been like real nice. He's such a nice dude out of the car, like really really nice guy, and really down to earth and very normal. So yeah, I'd say the relationship's good.
It's like the most sought after seat in Formula One. It is really. And I know McLaren have been coming up, Ferrari are looking all right, but the Red Bull seat is like the most sought after seat. So you're obviously very excited, but there's obviously a lot of pressure that comes around that.
It's also just special, the Red Bull seat, because for me personally, like I don't know about you guys, but I played the F1 games. Like F1 2010 came out when I was 8, and like that was like the first. That was at the age where I was getting serious in karts. I loved Formula One. Like that was what I wanted to do, and that Vettel won. Red Bull won in 2010, and so like watching the championship, playing the game, I was always playing. I've said this like 3 times in the last 24 hours, but I'd play as Mark Webber to verse Sebastian Vettel and like race the Red Bull car and like fight for wins in the game, and that was like so sick. So even like when I became a junior, that was the craziest thing for me at that point, because obviously now you're on the pathway to F1, and I would go to Red Bull and walk in the reception and see all the trophies, and like there's a card on the wall when you walk into the reception, and it's got the current drivers on like their names on the car every year. And like I remember like looking at it thinking like, imagine if my name was like on that car, and it's just crazy to know that I'm representing that team now,
That's
team
crazy.
that I've been a part of now for so long behind the scenes. And yeah, it's crazy.
And it's the team that you've obviously loved as well, right? Like if you could have picked any team, it would have been
100%
Red Bull
would have been
from the
this.
beginning.
So to be honest, when I had that Red Bull contract, we actually had a couple of other offers at the time from other junior teams, and
I remember we sat down with
in F1?
F1, yeah, like other junior teams in F1 when I did the Toyota Racing Series, and I remember we had like a sit down with my guys from New Zealand about what the best option was and like what the smartest thing to do, and they were all like, there's pressure with Red Bull, it's very cutthroat, you got to be prepared for it, and I was just like, guys, it's like we're 100% doing Red Bull, like there's no other option here, like I don't care how good the deal is for somebody else, like it's Red Bull or nothing, so even when I was that age, it was a special thing to be a Red Bull driver. So even like yesterday with Christian, I feel like an idiot because I can't stop smiling. Like I'm just with him like in his office and I'm just smiling all the time. Like it's funny.
You didn't do like the straight from F2 into F1. There was a season, right? Or there was a couple of seasons gap.
Yeah, reserve. I was doing it for probably over 2 years now.
So there was a period of time when you maybe thought this would never have happened. F1, there's so many people that would love to be an F1 driver. What was it like in that moment?
Horrible, because all the way out, you always have another championship to go. So you're in F4, you got F3 next, and you're building the steps. Then you get to F2, and you're kind of at the last step. And then I went to, I'm doing reserve during F2, and I'm realizing there's actually no step after this. Like it's now F1, and the F2 season, there was a time they signed Nick DeVries, and I was having a terrible F2 season at that point. And it turned around, and I had a really good end to the year, but by then everything was already done and sealed, and I lost the opportunity. I went into the next year going to Super Formula like, well, this is kind of my last shot. And the first part of that year, man, it wasn't looking like I was going to get a chance. So then I was like, for the first time in my whole life, because since I was 8 years old, somehow I've just always believed it would happen. And I think thanks to my parents being really supportive and especially on the mindset, my dad was like, if you work hard enough for something, you can do anything you want to do. And coming from a family with like no backing, like they we couldn't afford to do anything other than karts, and even that was tough. So to have that mindset from that age, I was just lucky that I carried it all the way through. But it was probably last year that was the first time I was like, man, I might not do this. And then everything changed. Yeah.
And then we were in Vegas, and obviously at the time of Vegas, you had no idea that you would have this seat, right? And it was probably more in your head like, am I even going to have a seat next year? You never really know. So it's just suddenly come out of nowhere.
Yeah, even six months ago, I was reserve watching and hoping to get a chance again. And obviously I'd done my stint last year, but every race that goes on since I did my reserve stint is another race where people are starting to just forget, because people are very short-minded, short memory in Formula 1. You really look at the last couple of races, you don't really look too far past that. So my races last year are starting to come quite far in the distance, in the past. And I'm like, man, if this goes on much longer, people are just going to forget that I even did those races, and nobody's going to care anymore. The next guy's going to come up because there's always more guys coming up. So yeah, it was 6 months ago. I wasn't even sure if I was going to get a shot in F1. Which is crazy to think now what's happening.
Mate, it's fucking crazy. And it's hard not to get like a bit emotional about it. Especially because it's not even me in the fucking seat, it's you. This is your life. Like, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your family's life.
It's massive, man. It's massive. And like, that's why I think to everybody, it's just, yeah. To like I said, to come into F1, you come into F1 and you're basically trying to prove yourself to a top team. Because you're never going to win a world championship in a midfield team. So you're there and you're trying to do as much learning as you can and do development and try and prove yourself. But it's almost like you're in another championship kind of thing. You're not racing the Ferraris and the Mercedes and the Red Bulls, and you're in your own sort of division.
Trying to
Feels
survive.
like just trying to survive, man. And then you get the chance to go to a team that actually is fighting. Max won the world championship this year. So, yeah, it's mad. It's mad.
Gonna change your life.
Yeah, man, it's mad.
Change your life when you're only 22.
Yeah, that's why it's still not real. Like it's gonna take time to settle in.
But it is 100% fucking real.
I know, dude.
Like it's fucking happening. It's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy.
But where are you gonna come on the pit stop fastest lap? That's what we got to see.
That's
really,
the question.
Is it time?
I think it might be, yeah.
It's time. How long we're good. 50 minutes. So time for a few laps.
What are you thinking about that leaderboard? Do you reckon you can get up there?
Well, I already told us we're not leaving until he's at least
in the
a
Crocs
decent
as
time.
well.
Yeah. I'll drive in the Crocs,
faster.
100%.
Yeah.
I got Lightning McQueen on my feet. There's no way we don't win.
Right.
So really, well, the highest F1 driver that is up there is Oscar Piastri. So as long as you beat Oscar, then you will be the fastest F1 driver on our board.
All right.
If you don't beat Oscar, then helmet's going to be ringing out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sign Jake and Fab.
Exactly. Yeah.
Should we hit it?
Let's do it.
Let's hit it. And here we go. Another Formula 1 driver on our sim for the pit stop fastest lap. It's Liam Lawson, ladies and gents. Oh, dear. We could cut that bit. It's quite interesting when we do this, right? Because you don't ever see a Formula 1 driver's face. All this concentration.
Very concentrated.
I must admit, mate, if he doesn't come top 3, then I feel like Helmet's going to start to question the decision that he's made. We're looking for a top 3 here, I think. As he comes down now into arguably the worst turn on the whole circuit.
Pure understeer in real life as well.
Little snap of oversteer there as he comes round into the double left-hander. Flat out now as he comes down here towards the final 2 turns. Beautiful line through there, just on the white line perfectly. That
There was in track limits.
Yeah,
Literally
it's
the wheels stayed in the track.
It's strict, mate. It's strict. It ain't like the FIA here. We don't just let people go. There's some serious set of rules. Some furious speed through that double left-hander.
Oh, boys.
Final 2 turns, the pressure's getting to him. Super late braking, I love that. Turns in, flicks it round, straight on the upshifts. DRS wide open now as he pummels down to the awful whatever turn this is. And he just gets a little slip on the curve. Around the final turn, Massey would have let that off, so we'll let it go.
Thanks.
That was beautiful.
Write that down.
It is hot in here.
I'm so nervous, dude.
Liam Lawson.
Oh, God, yeah. This is literally like Top Gear.
You're just about to step into the Red Bull seat, but first you had to do the pit stop fastest lap. And I always say it's arguably a more competitive leaderboard than we've had in F1 over the last couple of seasons.
Maybe that worked a couple of years ago.
Yeah, maybe not now. It's actually pretty tight.
Yeah, this year from was really tight.
Where do you think you may have come?
You literally, this is exactly like Top Gear. Where do you think you might have come? I'd be happy with I'd be happy if I'm in the 105s.
The 105s?
I'd be happy if I'm in the 105s. Yeah.
So if you get in the 105s, you beat Felipe Drugovich.
Yeah, mid 105 puts. I'd say 105s. I'd be somewhat happy.
You weren't too happy with those last laps.
No, I wasn't. They were shocking the last couple.
Well, I can confidently say that you have beaten Felipe Drugovich.
Right, we're in the 105.
So Ollie Behrman, Oscar Piastri, 105.9, very on the cusp of a 106, but they just made it in.
Right, I'd like to be in the mid 105s.
Yeah. Well, I can confirm that you have beaten both Ollie Behrman and Oscar Piastri. So now we're up into the mid 105s, mate. Brad Benavides with a 105.621. Solid lap from Brad.
Lap. Yeah, that's a good lap. He's put himself well up in that leaderboard.
You've gone and beaten Brad Benavides.
So we're in the top 3.
We're in the top three. Liam Lawson, you did the pit stop fastest lap in a 1:05.
Oh, okay.
.142. You are definitely one. Yeah! He's done it.
Oh, boys, thank you. That means a lot. That's the biggest. That's nearly the biggest win of the month. Not quite. Red Bull seat's just above that. But I'm stoked. I am stoked with that.
Oh,
That's a powerful lap.
That is, mate, insane. They were all good. All 3 laps were good. Your slowest lap was a 105.3. So your slowest lap was actually already 3rd. So
Really?
all 3 were really good.
Yeah, I know you weren't happy, but actually there was a lot of good
You're
stuff.
right. Those splits mean nothing.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I was
That's
like
why we covered that.
I was like looking at them like, because you'd finish a lap and it'd be like plus 2/10 or something like
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, does that mean that's like a 105.5? Or
Yeah.
like I was trying to work out what I was doing.
Mysterious.
But they mean nothing. Watching you try to open the thing. That was he's like trying to open it.
Just because I didn't take the fucking wrapper off. You gotta take the wrapper off.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man. Well, there we go. Top of the pit stop, fastest lap. Not bad at all.
Couldn't write it. You won on debut. So
It's another debut.
Yeah, that is.
there you go.
I'm stoked. I'm Probably happier than I should be with that. I am really stoked with that. So.
Well, so are we, trust me. Probably more stoked than you.
Yeah, mate. Thank you so much for coming here.
No,
thanks for helping us do this app. It's been a great one.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a blessing, man. We were supposed to do this last night, and it was just too much. There was too much traffic. You were coming back from the factory, and we were obviously so nervous in case it didn't happen.
Oh, really?
We were just like, fuck, you know.
No, I wouldn't pull out. No, I wouldn't pull out.
You never pull out. Liam Lawson, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Anything you want to say to Red Bull? You've come all this way. They've been the team that's been behind you. Anything you want to say to them?
Oh, I mean, obviously, and I will over the next couple of months. And I said to Christian yesterday, obviously, I'm stoked, and it means a lot. So for me, I joined the team 6 years ago, which is crazy, and have basically been chipping away for the last 6 years. And without them, obviously, I'd never be in this position. So yeah, as I said earlier, we set up that company structure to try and get picked up by a junior team because that was the only shot at getting the F1, and Red Bull were the guys that backed me. So yeah, without them, I wouldn't be here. So it's pretty exciting.
Mate, congratulations. Can't wait to watch you in the Red Bull next year.
Thanks, guys.
It's great news. Ladies and gentlemen,
huge.
Liam Lawson.
Thank you.
Unreal.
I'm sure we're never going to get a hold of you ever again. You're going to be so busy, but mate, thanks for joining us, man.
Brother.
Thank you. No worries. That was sick. Hey guys, we're going to give away my signed hat. All you got to do is like and subscribe, and Jake and Fab are going to select one lucky winner to win this hat.